Hi everyone, this is my Connect Extend Challenge video for our standardized testing assignment. So for Connect, information presented that is connected to my prior knowledge is that I have a general understanding of formal and informal assessments. I just recently learned about running records from interviewing a teacher and know they are part of informal assessments. Formal assessments are what is generally used to measure averages and is a percentile or score. This would be seen in the form of a report card or a standardized test score. Informal assessments are based off of performance and given insight into how well a student is doing something. This is a great tool to use when gaining information on what a student's strengths and weaknesses are and how instruction can be modified to fit their individual needs. I know that assessments are used to help with classroom management and discipline. A daily journal or note keeping of behavior that is challenging can help teachers communicate with parents if they need to and figure out behavioral patterns over time. I had to keep a journal of behavior for a 3-year-old child once to help me find out what was triggering his behaviors, the time of day, and how often it was occurring. This helped me gather data to present to the director and also to help the student and for myself to communicate with his parents. I also love portfolios. In the school I worked in, we actually passed them over to the next classroom teacher as the child grew so that the teacher could review the portfolio and gain a better understanding of the child's progression. Not all schools use portfolios, which I personally think is unfortunate. And for Extend, the new idea I gained from reading formal versus informal teaching from Scholastic is that the most effective teaching is based on identifying performance objectives, instructing based on those, and then assessing it. I realize I have more to learn on how to identify performance objectives. I also thought in preschool the only standardized testing done was for kindergarten readiness and screening for disabilities. I think this age group has such a wide range of what is considered normal development that it would be challenging to gain accurate results. I was happy to read that a more holistic approach is also commonly used. I learned more on how to select an appropriate informal method by asking questions beforehand, such as, why do I need this information and how appropriate is this method? One neat thing I learned from the Brookings article is that there is a shift in the way people are viewing standardized testing. There are so many more complexities involved in measuring knowledge than just retrieval. Another extension of my knowledge is that when I went to school and took standardized tests, it was always conducted the same way. It was always super cold, long, and nerve-wracking. Unfamiliar teachers or facilitators, and the major tests such as FCAT were done in a larger room with lots of students. I learned from the Eager to Learn article that there has been a shift in how teachers view this type of testing environment and are now advocating for assessment settings that are non-threatening, comfortable, and familiar. I think this trend is catching on in the workplace environment as well. And I'm seeing more group-like settings on couches and expressive environments instead of like gray, sterile cubicles. I have also seen some classroom environments arranged this way, such as having comfy floor pillows instead of desks. So what still is challenging for me is that I would like to know more about inherent measurement properties and how the education system is going to measure competencies even with the use of proxies. If the way we measure our students change, shouldn't it also change for teacher candidates? I think the measurement of knowledge is only half the test when it comes to working with children. And since this is not done, it may be a big reason why there is such a decline in education program enrollments and teachers leaving the field. I wonder if there are schools that have a simulation aspect to the interview process before hiring a new teacher. I actually did that once in a preschool where I sat down and had an interview with the director and then spent about an hour in the classroom helping out and getting a real feel for the environment I would be working in. In regards to informal and formal assessment, I wonder how much of informal assessments dictate instructional changes. I'm still challenged with the assessment of students with disabilities. I think the IRIS module was very helpful and gave me a lot of information on the differences between modifications and accommodations. I think overall I feel I will be challenged in this area simply since I have not gained physical experience in the classroom. Thank you so much, and that's it. Thanks.